Meanwhile, the president up early this morning tweeting about some things. One of the things he was tweeting about is the New York Times and how this ISIS leader, al-Baghdadi, was able to basically sneak away in the cover of darkness after a New York Times story went to press in 2015. We now learned during a discussion with our own Catherine Harridge. Here is the tweet that the president sent out. The failing New York Times foiled U.S. attempt to kill the single most wanted terrorist, al-Baghdadi. Their sick agenda over national security.
That's right. So what you're going to hear now is sound from General Tony Thomas. He's the leader of Special Operations Command. So they're in charge of all the dirty and dark stuff that happens at night to kill bad guys that most of us don't know anything about. Their job is to act in the shadows and in secret, and they kill the most lethal men on the planet. So, and he's sitting talking to our own Catherine Harridge, admitting that we would have had al-Baghdadi based on the intelligence we had, except someone leaked information to the failing New York Times in 2015. This is the previous administration, and as a result, we think he slipped away. Take a listen.
It was a very good lead. Unfortunately, it was leaked in a prominent national newspaper about a week later, and that lead went dead. So, that's the challenge we have in terms of where and how our tactics and procedures are discussed openly. There's a great need to inform the American public about what we're up to. There's also a great need to recognize things that will absolutely undercut our ability to do our job.
So he's walking a delicate balance there, saying there's a need to report. But is the need to report this? They had Abu Sayyaf. They killed Abu Sayyaf from ISIS.
The oil minister from ISIS, yeah.
They grab his wife. His wife then gives up a ton of information. They end up having like 3 terabytes worth of data in order to use to track al-Baghdadi. They knew how he traveled, with whom he traveled, how he liked to move around, and they were closing in on him.
And then, Clayton, when that goes on the Internet, as the failing New York Times does, that can be read there and elsewhere. And so he understands what they know, goes underground, goes somewhere else, changes his plans. That's why, that's one of the other reasons it's the failing New York Times. It's not just failing in its credibility, it's failing our country.
Well, it's failing the American people, because you think
and your
about...
war fighters.
Yeah, you think about what the role is of media today. Is it to inform and to protect the American people? Because if that is the case, you think about something like that and the harm that it does to our national security. So this happened under former President Barack Obama's watch, and who knows the communication that was had at that time, because I would say regardless of if you're Republican or Democrat, this is something that if you are behind closed doors in the White House or part of the national security team, you care about this, because this really impacts negatively the job you're trying to do.
You want a patriotic journalist.
This is why police investigations, and the press don't release information about police investigations, because it could jeopardize their case, right?
Yeah.